out. But I will tell you this. I love this river more than anything else. I've loved this river, even from the time I was a toddler back in Missouri. Before we get too much further out of port, I think I should mention that you best not be sitting on those handrails. They're the only thing between you and the river. And the river don't always take kindly to uninvited guests. We've also had reports of river pirates operating in the vicinity, so I wouldn't lean out beyond those rails for that reason either.
Yeah, you can wave.
For those of you on the port side, that river town we passed on is frontier.
There's Tom's Landing.
Years back, it was no more than a boom town carved out of the wilderness by a handful of settlers looking to start a new life. Today, the utility and Victoria are running rampant. Oh, it still has its share of footloose traffic.
Coming up on Thunder Mountain Railroad. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, to be precise.
And well on its way to becoming a fine big city. Frontierland reminds me some of my own hometown, Hannibal. It takes me back to when I was a barefoot boy growing up alongside the riverbank. You know, it seems to me that when I was young, I could remember everything. Whoever it happened.
Yeah, they are.
As I grow older,
Up waving to the boat.
I
Yep.
remember only the things that never happened at all.
There's the windmill. It was a nice place to relax and rock in the chairs there on Tom Sawyer's Island.
Exceedingly young. Marvelously young. Young by hundreds of years. Younger than I will ever be again.
There's the cave. The mystery mine is a little bit farther over there.
Even today, the only way you can get there is by
This guy
raft.
came out and said, "I did
Old man Parker's grain mill is there. Back in the woods. just
There's the
off South
suspension
Lake.
bridge.
And that's Muck Potter's pond and his windmill.
Pretty cool, huh?
We almost hanged Muck once. And there's Huck's Landing.
How is that
Always did like that.
still?
Swear just
How does the suspension bridge not
He and Tom and I
The suspension bridge is suspended by the wires, see? And you have two towers on either side that suspend the wires through the middle so you don't have to have any supports underneath the bridge. And they're anchored
Superstition Bridge.
in large anchors on the ends there. There's Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. They're working on it right now.
I like going on Thunder Mountain and going over the water too.
Yeah, that's a fun spot right there. What they're working on right there is the curve that the train comes out. Looks like you're going right into the water. And there's the fort. You guys were running all over that.
There's somebody behind me.
Okay, sorry. Oh, look! You guys can see the deer. Backside of Thunder Mountain. Over here. Made it look like a loading platform for the riverboat. All sorts of supplies for the fort.
It's a duck.
It's over here on this side. Yeah, as you can see the deer over here.
Look, the duck.
A little bit of a log cabin and a duck. Yep, swimming toward the boat. Come on, duck. Swim. Fly away.
What happens if the boat runs over the duck?
It's not going to run over the duck. The duck's smarter than that.
But what if it did?
Oh, and they've got all this stuff out here that you can pass by on the train. Oh, old guy fishing off the dock over there. This is what natural Florida would look like if you took the Swanee River. This is more like on the Mississippi, the mighty Mississippi. Little outpost there with a dock. Somebody fishing off with his dog.
Look who's drifted out of the bayou. Off the port, Captain. It's Beacon Joe.
Port is left.
Beacon's been marking this river for longer than I can remember. Every time the river cuts down.
Port is left because it has the same letters as left, and stern is the right. You get port and starboard. Starboard's right. Stern is the rear.
You can navigate the Liberty Belle on a heavy duty. Isn't that so, sir?
Well, I was born humble, Captain. But mostly it's worn off.
Look at the deer.
Yep. Got the deer over there. A little bit of a buoy. Deer crossing. Aptly named.
Look at the tents over there.
Yep. Those have been wigwams. Yeah, Indian.
Now there's something you don't see much out this way. That's an Algonquin Indian village.
Algonquin.
Looks to be from the Powhatan tribe. Usually they stay further east. I've seen Seminole and Miami as far west. And of course Shoshone, Blackfeet, Crow, but I've never seen Algonquins out
Look at
here.
the deer.
Lots of game out this way. I've seen moose and deer and plenty of other things
Nah.
along the shoreline.
We don't have these in Florida, but these would have been moose.
Just following the goose trail.
Another devil.
Yeah, it would have been an Indian tribe.
I didn't know Indian tribes had domesticated dogs.
They did, yeah.
Our steamboat, they call it
Look at all those all the way to back there. The horse.
Because of the smoke and sparks pouring out our house. And the first time we passed this way, they thought it was the return of one of their heavenly messengers. They said our riverboat was a comet of the sun.
The Devil's Elbow, huh?
Why do they call it that?
It's a tight turn. I don't know what's off the port.
Ridge up that hill is their sacred burial ground.
Ah,
And those who fall in battle placed atop the traditional bed of death.
Look, the dead's trying to keep up.
Return to mourn the great warriors who brought honor to the tribe.
Attention deck watch. Shoals to port and starboard. Engine room, steady on.
We're entering shallow water, but there's
Whoa,
no
we're already on the other side of the floor.
Sam knows
Yep.
every shoal and shallow, every snag and sandbar in this part of the river. And he'll navigate us through to safe water. You wouldn't steer us wrong, would you, Sam?
I believe we ought never to do wrong, Captain. Especially when others are looking. Leadsman, sing out.
Tree Snag Reef.
Those of you that have been this way before know that the water can get fairly shallow along this
Oh, that's a
stretch of
hideout
shore.
up here.
Leadsmen call out the depth. Each mark is a fathom or 6 feet. Mark 20 is 2 fathoms, and for us that means safe water.
That's off of starboard there, a hideout.
Captain, we're passing Cutthroat Corner. Attention deck crew, stay alert. If there's river pirates out here, this is where they'll most likely be.
Cutthroat
I can hear
Corner.
them from here. From all the commotion, it sounds like their interests lie elsewhere. If you folks on deck look past the trees on the island, that's Fort Langhorn. Most of these old forts started out as trading posts. Then as settlers started heading west, the army came in and took them over. My feeling is, these days, there's a lot less frontier and a lot more civilization than is truly necessary.
Yep, we're back on this side of the suspension bridge.
Leadsman, give me a depth reading. Sing out.
By the mark, halfway, but one must wait, no other, safe water, halfway, safe.
Howling Dog Bend up here.
I just photobomb.
There's the barrel bridge. They made it across the barrels.
You see that brick mansion back over yonder there in the woods? I've heard folks hereabouts say it's haunted. They say it was built on sacred Indian
There's the haunted mansion over there.
filled with spirits. If you ask me, I'd say the ones telling those tales are the ones filled with spirits. If you want proof, just ask them. They got it. About 100 proof, I reckon. And whatever you do, don't strike any matches if they aim to breathe in your direction. And you won't just be
Mine looks like
seeing
it moves
those.
decently
You'll
fast.
be joining.
And the back to the landing.